Hey, how you doing? Have a seat by the fire there. I was just thinking about you the other day when Murray Cornell pulled up next to Uncle Walt's pickup truck and caught him with 33 lake trout in the bed of that truck. And I pulled up just about that time, you know, and went into the diner. And old Murray, he sat down on one side of Walt and I sat down on the other. You know, up here in the North Country, people like to take their time before they get down to business. And geez, it must have been 10 minutes of Murray getting his coffee, Murray getting his donut, and Murray taking his hat off, you know, and talking to Walt about the weather before he decided he'd finally get down to business. And he turns to Walt and he says, you know, Walt, I couldn't help but notice when I come in here that you got 33 trout in the bed of your truck. And everybody in that diner went quiet. You can tell the legal limit is 2. We had a little problem on our hands. But old Walt, he doesn't shake very easy. He likes to take his time too, you know, and he sat there and he had a little sip of coffee and counted in the air, you know, and scratched the back of his head and turns to Murray and he says, well, he says, 33 trout more or less, that's probably right. And Murray says to him, well, for heaven's sake, Walt, you know darn well the legal limit's 2. I'm going to have to write you up. And Walt jumped up off of that stool and looked Murray right in the eye and he said, you listen to me, Murray Cornell. You don't understand. When I go fishing, I can't help but go out there and catch at least 33 trout. And everybody in the diner laughed at him when he said that, you know. Even old Murray had to crack a smile. He reached down and picked up his game protector's hat and put it on the back of his head and he says to him, well, he says, I'll tell you what, Walt, you pick me up in that old Chris craft of yours tomorrow morning and we'll go out there fishing for lake trout. And if you can show me how we can't come back with any less than 33 trout, well, by Jeezum Crow, I'll let you off. Well, the next morning, good to his word, Walt went down, got into the Chris craft and picked Murray up on the dock in the middle of town there, went way out to the middle of the lake there by Dome Island where that fishing's real good, you know. And they sat there in the quiet, bobbing up and down. And Walt stepped up on the rail of that boat and he walked that rail all the way out to the bow and stood there and he stuck one finger straight up in the air. And Murray was staring at him, you know. And he stared right back at Murray and he took that finger and leaned around and swazzled it around in the water there and drew it right up to his nose and went. And Murray staring at him, he stared right back at Murray and reached down, cupped his hand and took a little bit of water and Murray's staring at him. He turned right around, looked Murray right in the eye, and he said, you know something? He said, every lake trout in Lake George is right under this boat right now. And Murray said, that tears it. And he reached in his hip pocket and took out a book of them tickets and started writing 240. Didn't bother Walt at all. Walt walked right into the back of the boat, got the bait bucket, took out a stick of dynamite, stuck a fuse in it, lit it, threw it under that boat, and boom! There's nothing but bubbles and trout coming up everywhere. He's got a pool skimmer net from the motel down the road, pitching those trout in the back of that old Chris craft like pancakes off a griddle, and Murray was wild. His eyes were about as big around as saucers, and he's holding on to the bulkhead, watching the bubbles and the dead fish come to the surface, and he says, my Lord, Walt, he says, it's bad enough. I got to write you up on a game violation, he said, but now I got to write you up for having explosives without a permit, and reckless endangerment. Well, that didn't shake Walt up at all. He went right back to the bait bucket, got another stick of dynamite, stuck a fuse in it, lit it, handed it to Murray, and he said, you going to talk or you going to fish?